Improve memory. Techniques to develop your brain and build a photographic memory. Includes visual training. Written by Matt Evans. Narrated by Brian Patel. Introduction. Aging isn't something anybody can maintain a strategic distance from. However, there is an expanding assortment of research giving us that there are things you can do today to help keep your mind sharp and your body sound as you get more seasoned. Be that as it may, how to improve your brain. The most recent piece of evidence on vitamins D for this situation and well-being originates from a populace-based investigation of more than 3,100 European men, matured 40 to 79, that found the subjects with high vitamin D levels improved on both memory and data preparing tests than subjects with lower levels. Regardless of whether this fundamental, however undervalued supplement secures the brain cells themselves or key flagging pathways inside the brain isn't clear, yet the impact is absolutely quantifiable. The examination, a joint exertion between University of Manchester specialists and associates from other European focuses, shows up in the Journal of Neurology, Neurosurgery, and Psychiatry. This most recent work pursues investigate that made news this past January recommended elevated levels of vitamin D can help avert the mental decay of the maturing brain. Dr. Ian Lang, an individual from the UK and US group who did the previous work, concurs that this most recent examination adds to the evidence that vitamin D may be generally excellent for the brain. The examination included men from 8 nations crosswise over Europe as a feature of the European Male Aging Study, EMAS, and included evaluating mental nimbleness of the subjects utilizing 3 diverse government-sanctioned trials of perception. Tests of blood were taken to quantify vitamin D levels. Assessments likewise included how physically dynamic the men were, the way they worked in day-by-day life, and reports on mindset or melancholy. At last, the men with most noteworthy vitamin D levels did best on the test, and their intellectual execution was reliably superior to those with the least levels. One amazement was that the distinction showed up most strikingly in subjects more than 60 years of age. For what reason may this be? The analysts aren't sure, yet proposed the vitamin may trigger an expansion in defensive hormones in the brain. However, at present, Just Creature examines back this hypothesis. Other evidence recommends that vitamin D may work to quiet down an overdynamic safe framework or maybe help levels of cell reinforcements that work to detoxify the brain. So while specialists can clarify decisively how vitamin D works, they stay sure that it does for sure affect age-related subjective capacity. As a fat solvent supplement, vitamin D is found normally in just a couple of foods, for example, slick fish, salmon, fish, and mackerel, meat liver, fish liver oils, cheddar, and eggs. Invigorated foods are likewise accessible, foods like milk, prepare-to-eat oats, and a few brands of squeezed orange, yogurt, margarine, and natural product juices. All things being equal, eating an eating routine with enough of this supplement isn't as simple as you might suspect. And is the explanation supplements have gotten so popular? You'll need to converse with your very own primary care physician to examine your one-of-a-kind circumstance before you start taking any supplement. At present, the recommended admission of vitamin D is 400 to 600 IU a day for those matured more than 51. However, in any event, 1,000 IU every day is considered by numerous individuals to be a progressively popular level for most established grown-ups. In 2008, the American Academy of Pediatrics made vitamin D admission recommendations that were twofold the past portion, the ones the vast majority of us experienced childhood with, and keeping in mind that sunlight is additionally a characteristic
Sample complete. Ready to continue?